Hey everybody, welcome to etrailer.com. I'm Bobby, and today we're taking a look at the Kuat Sherpa 2.0 here on our 2018 Toyota 4Runner. So this is going to be a very nice way, guys, of giving you a very decent bike rack. The only reason I say decent, it looks good, it performs well. The only thing is it has a 40-pound capacity per bike. So definitely above and beyond decent when you're comparing it to a 40 bike platform tray carrier. The one thing with that though, I think a lot of bikes are getting heavier and heavier, and especially if you have something like an e-bike that you're worried about, I would look at something like the Kuat NV 2.0 that has a 60-pound weight capacity, or even further yet, or maybe just a little bit in between that price margin is going to be the Rocky Mounts Monorail 2-bike platform rack. However, if a 40-pound limit is all you're looking for, you got your carbon frame bikes, or maybe just some of your smaller bikes, this is still and far beyond an excellent carrier for yourself. We are getting a front tire hold on here, which makes it excellent for your things like a carbon frame bike, like you're seeing here today. And if you do have any women's bikes, step-through bikes, kids bikes, or like I said, women's bikes that have a little bit of a harder time adhering to either your hanging style racks or your center post systems, we don't have to worry about that. As long as you get that front good wheel, we'll have an excellent time of actually securing our bikes on here. So I really do like how this works. It is in the gunmetal gray as you're seeing it here today. So cosmetically, Kuat's done a great job sprucing these guys up, making sure they look nice and clean for ourselves. If you're not the biggest fan though, it is also available in pearl and black, so you can accessorize to your own vehicle at home. And we can start taking a look at how this actually holds onto our bikes. So this is going to be our rear cradle. You can see it oscillates a little bit, accounting for some of your bigger wheelbases or your smaller ones. It does have a very decent strap in here. I think a big limiting factor for the Sherpa as well is going to be those fat bike adapter, or I'm sorry, those fat back tires. Probably not going to really like this system. You can see the strap itself not very long, and even our rear cradle here only has about 2 and 7/8 inches there between us, so not a lot of room. But again, we're on those smaller bikes. They probably don't need that much size anyways. And here on the other side, we do have that front cradle that comes out. I love how this guy works, because as they cinch this down, it gives it a really good backing plate to secure that front wheel, so you know it's not going to go anywhere. You can see that inner groove there. It's excellent for some of your smaller tires, that 18C standard, which is excellent. And here on the top of our platform, you are seeing a locking core. The very inside of that is available for us to actually plug in our cable lock to secure both of our bikes to our carrier when we leave it unattended. Now that lock will be key-like to our hitch lock, but we'll break that down just a little bit later here on in the video. One thing that's excellent about the Sherpa, it can still tilt away from our vehicle while our bikes are installed. To do that, all we have to do, press on this lever here. If you do have a second bike, snake in your hand underneath here can be helpful, allowing that to tilt, then removing it, and then you simply assist this as it goes down. If you do have 40-pound bikes on here, maybe give yourself just a little bit of good footing. And now I can open up my hatch though. This is going to give me access here, making sure our handlebars are good. Now maybe if you have some really long handlebars, try to put those more towards the the platform that's further away from your vehicle if you're running into a little trouble there. So, excuse me. On the inside here, now we have access to those bike helmets, coolers, anything else we might need. Really like how much room we have here on the 4Runner as well. I can even find people sitting here, putting their boots up or their shoes, changing everything out as they need it. Love that we have access here. And what's nice about it, makes it a lot easier when you're at a gas station or doing some errand runs, even while this is on the back of our 4Runner. I'm just going to walk it up though. What's excellent, no pins or clips to worry about. That's going to latch itself in this position. It is nice and locked and loaded, which is great. So as we take a look here, let's see how we're interacting with our 4Runner today. Taking a look from the back, I can see interacting a little bit with that rear window. You are going to lose just a little bit of visibility. Now, are we going to be able to see people behind us still? Yes, I think we're in a good spot there. Just keep in mind, as you get 2 bikes on here, going to be some seat posts and some handlebars to kind of have to account for. We do have an offset on that backup camera. However, with 2 bikes on here, probably going to lose a lot of that visibility as well. And unfortunately, that's just something that kind of happens when you have a bike carrier here on the back of your vehicle. Well, let's go about and actually see how we can take this bike off. Takes no time. Again, pressing on those straps that we mentioned before, pulling those guys out. I like the matting that they have here on the inside too. It does a great job of protecting our rims. You can see a couple carriers around here don't quite have that, and they definitely kind of bite into that rim just a little bit. So little things do go a long way. To release this though, let's make sure we have a good handle on our bike. We don't want that falling into our vehicle or ourselves to cause any damage to us or the bike. Now I can simply press in on that. That's going to allow me to take my arm up and away. Now my bag's released. I can grab it, walk it off, and we're all ready to ride. The one thing about mounting it to watch out for is going to be this rear strip. What's really easy though, take your bike, dip it down, pick up that strap, and set it in place. Really doesn't take too much time, and I love how that works. Well, let me go ahead and condense this down just a little bit to make it look a little prettier. That front cradle goes down as well, gives it a nice clean look for itself, which is going to be really helpful as we actually tilt this up towards our vehicle. But before we do, we have a couple dimensions to check here. The big one's going to be the clearance from the ground. So from the ground to the end of my carrier here today, that looks like it's putting me at 26.5 inches to the front. And since we're so far out there and that's really tall, I'm not too worried about it. I wanted to get this one as well, and that's going to put you at 18 inches there. So both of those measurements are well enough out of the way. Nothing I'm too worried about. The only thing is the 4Runner is quite a large vehicle, so as those front wheels go up, the rear will go down, and so will your hitch-mounted accessories. So if you find yourself approaching a very steep incline, maybe take it nice and slow just for the first time, just to make sure we have no issue. But again, with us being so well enough out of the way, I don't think anybody at home should have any trouble. But let's see how much length we're actually adding on to our already pretty long 4Runner, huh? From the back of the bumper here today to the very end of our carrier, that's putting me up 35.5 inches. So love to see this not exceeding 40. That's really great, and I do have a way of shortening it down. Remember when we tilted this away? Well, we're going to use the same thing, but instead of tilting away, I'm going to tilt it up to its stowed position, just like so. It clips back in. Again, no pins or clips I got to worry about. It's right there, and it is solid in this position. You're not going to be hearing it wiggle or rattle around, which is great. I love these arms too. They have a really good resistance. So you can see it takes me pushing on the very end of that to even move it a little bit. So natural road shake, we're not worried at all about these arms making contact with our vehicle. So I do love to see that. And yeah, that's shortened down a ton of that length. Now let's see, from the back of the bumper here today to the very end of my carrier, that's going to be putting me right at 17.75 of an inch there. So a lot of room getting knocked down. Maybe now we can pull this in the garage. Albeit, we probably have to measure that at home because the 4Runner already is so long. But at the very least, it makes it a lot easier to park this somewhere, which is great. I love that the Sherpa isn't too long as well, so we're not too worried about here on the rear of our vehicle. It does look pretty good in this position too. Get that gunmetal gray look going, which is great. But moving our way down into the inside here, we can see we do have a 2-inch shank held in today, of course, by our 2-inch hitch receiver. On the inside of that, you are just seeing a little alignment pin with a locking core, and that allows us to leave our carrier unattended onto our vehicle. Make sure it's still there, which is great. Now, where's all the work coming from, though, right? We have this. It's nice in line with our vehicle. Well, that's right here on the end of our shank. This is our anti-rattle knob. I got to give this guy a few turns, and it is solid. It's tightening a cam on the inside of our shank to our hitch, taking all that shake and play out. As you guys are going to see, as I give this a shake, it actually moves the entirety of the 4Runner, and therefore making for a nicer, smoother ride for ourselves, our bike rack, but especially our bike. So the Sherpa here, definitely a clean little option for you guys. The 40-pound capacity is a little limiting, but if you find yourself not needing 60 pounds, why go up, right? This is going to get the job done. It's nice and low profile as well. The sides are a little smaller, which is great. Again, I feel like the niche of it is going to be the biggest issue for a lot of people, and we do have the options available here at etrailer.com. Otherwise, I think it's a great little option. It looks great here on the 4Runner, and really, really easy to use. If you're like us and you don't have a bike stand for your bike, you can walk right up and with one hand start getting that guy moved, get it all out, open it all up, and get your bike loaded up in no time. So really, really do like how the Sherpa works here, and the world is your oyster here at etrailer.com. You guys are going to have the pick that you guys want. Otherwise, though, I think that about does it for our look here today at the Kuat Sherpa 2.0 here on the back of our 2018 Toyota 4Runner. I'm Bobby. Thanks for watching.